no stress, because I'll still do like a clap. All right, you ready?
Ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? I'm David Downs, your senior editor at Leafly, and we're all wondering, where in the world do you want to blaze one in 2025? Yes, 2025 and cannabis tourism around the world is on the topic of everyone's mind. Should we be going to Germany? Should we be going to Spain? Should we be going to Thailand? Should we be going to South America? Let's figure it out. And let's figure it out with none other than the International Cannabis Business Conference Director, ICBC's Alex Rogers, joining us again, almost on an annual pace now, to talk a little bit about the global picture in tourism, but also in business. Alex, thanks for joining us.
How you doing, David? Good to be here, bro.
I'm wonderful. I'm here in San Francisco. It's Chinese New Year. Let's chop it up. I want to hit the road, in 2025, see new places, smoke well, stay safe. What should be on my radar in terms of places to visit? I mentioned at the top of my head, I see people going to Germany, Spain, Thailand, maybe even South America. What is your sense of where the cannabis community is booking tickets to in 2025?
So it's crazy because Germany's not usually known as like the cannabis cultural center of the world, but a lot of things have changed since the new laws have come out. And, going to Spain is always great because Barcelona has the best weed in Europe, in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's always Amsterdam. It's just such a classic city. It's not the only place you can smoke where it's legal now, which it used to be when I lived there, but that's awesome. The crazy thing is Germany, they are buck wild in that you can smoke on the street in Germany. You can smoke everywhere except for the provisions that they have with schools, basically, right? So now in Germany, you have people smoking on the street. So not even in Spain or Holland or California, well, you do have people who smoke on the street, but in all those places, but you still have to be a little, it's still not legal, right? So in Germany, it's actually legal to smoke outside in public. And that's what makes it so super cool, so super surreal. I was at this 5-star hotel in Munich the other day and just wanted to go smoke. And instead of, having to hide it, I just went outside on the sidewalk of the hotel where other people were smoking cigarettes and smoked my joint. And it was, no, I was like, is someone going to say something to me? And it was like, no, weed's legal now in Germany. So it's
Wild.
Super interesting to feel that when all these jurisdictions where they've legalized in America or the world, you still can't really go out and smoke it, or you can't even go inside and smoke it at a club or whatever. And so Germany's really open with that, in that they're basically, the laws are almost the same as cigarettes.
What about how's it going in Thailand? I'm looking at Fidel's on Instagram, and he says you can smoke in Thailand, but then I also read that they kind of walk things back a little bit.
So I actually can't say definitively what's going on in Thailand, because it seems to be all over you're getting always different information from different people. But yeah, what I get from my people on the ground now is you can smoke. It is legal. There's shops everywhere with THC cannabis. And so I think it's back. I think things are wide open again in Thailand, and the weather's nice.
Yeah. And then it seems like medical cannabis trade has come to South America. I hear about grows in Colombia or around there, and medical cannabis moving around. Is there anything for consumers in South America on your radar?
I'm not sure. What I know Colombia is doing now is they're exporting it into Europe finally, and that's a big thing. But I don't know what the decrim is on Colombia. I'm so Eurocentric these days, David, that I can tell you, come to Slovenia and smoke one in Ljubljana with me in Slovenia, because it is an extremely open city for cannabis.
What are some other spots? Isn't Czechoslovakia supposed to do something? We were talking last
Yeah,
year.
so Prague's wild open too. They're just have so much bureaucracy. They're so progressive in some ways, but then my boy Robert was getting busted for just having his magazine, kind of like, what was that Operation so fucking long ago, like 25 years ago, Pipe Dreams or something.
Right.
And so they busted him. Now he's exonerated, but he went through a whole litany of legal stuff, and then and now they're saying they're going to do 1%, like Switzerland, up to 1% THC, like weed light. But I think it's just, I don't know. They need to actually just be like, are we going to legalize? Are we not? Are we going to decriminalize? Are we going to actually have a market here? They don't know. And so the laws are all kind of scrambled there. That being said, it's very progressive for weed in general.
You're doing the International Cannabis Business Conference in Barcelona in March. Barcelona has effective decriminalization and smoking private clubs, but then you can still get hassled on the street.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to be smoking weed on the street when the cops are around. I mean, some won't do anything. It just depends how discreet you are in one term. But if you got a big fatty, like American style pure joint going on, no, there's all types of cops in Barcelona. They got like local police, regional police, federales. You see like squads with machine guns and everything. It's a pretty police state, even though it's a safe city in general. It's for as big a city it is. It's safe, but you don't want to. I wouldn't mess with it, you know. And if you do, just be discreet, you know. Like if you have some hash and tobacco, that's one thing. But if you got a big hooter or the dizzle dizzang, and you just blowing up the spot, you know, loud as fuck everywhere, then no, do not be mess with no cops in Barcelona.
Yeah, it sounds like there's this tension between decrim, but also not bothering anyone. I heard the restaurateurs are chafed or have heartburn around the club smell, or they see the clubs as like a threat to their cafe business or whatever, and they have the ear of the new mayor. And
yeah, right. Yeah, so they're trying to like kind of crack down a little bit, or at least not, you know, they go through stages where they will crack down, then they'll go into a few clubs and they'll bust a few clubs, but they can't really stop. As far as I see it, you know, implementation is 90% of the law, and this thing is the cat's out of the box. And Spain just seems to be honestly one of those places that's always going to be in the gray area, right? Because their politicians aren't moving on the medical, they're nothing like that. So I mean, it really is slow. And so it just seems like it's just kind of Spain's underground, it's a little gangster, and it just seems like that's just the part of their makeup.
yeah, it strikes me that some people there probably like the gray area. Like there's networks that go back decades or centuries, and some clubs seem to have some pull and do okay, and other ones that are on the outside don't do as well. And depends who you have access to, whether you like it, like the current system or not.
Well said.
Because it sounds like they're gonna go hard at Cannabis again this year. And even in this climate where like Barcelona locals are feeling a little bit exasperated by how successful Barcelona has been at attracting tourism over the last year, have they not?
Oh, it's banging, and the clubs are awesome, bro. It's like I lived in Amsterdam, and when I go to the Spain club, I'm just like kind of like harkening back to the old school times in Amsterdam. But no, the clubs are banging. There's a club for everybody, you know, whatever type of reggae club, fucking hipster club, super diggity dank club with all the ill Moroccan hash, whatever.
And they're still ahead of us in California, where we just passed a new law saying you could put an espresso machine or make someone a sandwich in your licensed consumption lounge in California. They said that on the state level, but the locals.
I mean, that's what's better about Europe in general. They don't think like mixing alcohol, you know, having alcohol in the pub too, or in the bar also, is like the worst thing. It's just like in Holland, there's coffee shops that serve alcohol. Some can't do it, some can, you know. But what a nice feeling when you can go in and sip your lager or your beer and then smoke a joint also.
Yeah, I know here in San Francisco, the state law kicked in and the news was talking to the locals being like, hey, when can we pour an espresso in here? And the city, I think it was the public health department's like, whoa. Like, we haven't even contemplated writing rules, let alone issuing a permit for you to make that there espresso there, Sonny boy.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a little bit much. But you're doing Berlin ICBC April 29th and 30th. Where is Berlin at for consumers? It sounds like there's medical dispensaries open. Is that something consumers from outside the country avail themselves of? What's the real politic on the ground there?
Yeah, Berlin's off the charts because you have the medical cannabis thing, which is the de facto legalization. So you can procure cannabis, have it delivered to your house without even going out of your house, actually. So it's quite something else. Berlin's always been extremely progressive on smoking. You can smoke weed everywhere in Berlin. You could smoke weed pretty much everywhere in Berlin before it was legal. Now that it's legal, it's absolutely ubiquitous. And now I know a lot of people that are making social lounges in Berlin. So party spots where people come and it's just a weed party. You smoke your weed and no problems at all. So when it comes to access, so there's no, and then there's social clubs. Now a foreigner can get their medical card there. Social clubs, no foreigners. Lounges, foreigners can come, right? So it feels very accessible in Berlin. It already did, and now it feels like it's just completely all out, 100% fully on legalized.
And that's happening on a parallel track with the city or the region of Berlin's in.
No,
like what licensing?
No, I mean, so I don't know about for consumption lounges. I'm not sure if there is a license for that yet or whatever. I know people are doing it, right? When it comes to licenses, they're
doing vertically integrated, like,
well, you get a social club, which is the cultivation society or social club, and then now eventually they'll have pilot projects also. They're a little slow on that, but when it comes to the culture and the lounges and the accessibility, Berlin
already left the station.
Yeah, for sure. We're flying high.
What's the best time of year to visit Germany? I mean, I know there's Mary Jane in June. I'm sure it's cold in the winter, but
yeah, I actually love the time we do the event. That's why we had moved into the summer close to Mary Jane, but then I moved it back to our original time, which is mid-late April. Great time. Generally, the weather could be 60 and sunny, and no big crowds, and magical time. Generally in Europe, spring and late spring and early fall are the best times to be in Europe, where you have good weather, but you don't have the hordes of tourists and the crowds, because it gets crowded in Europe in the summer.
And then the Europeans are taking the summer off too. So there's like right? Like
they take the summer off. These motherfuckers know how to fucking vacation, you know?
Yeah.
They holiday well, like 6 weeks, you know, they're just gone. They're just gone, man. Dude. I don't know. I can't get used to it quite. Yeah, in a perfect world, bro. But it's like, then what are you gonna do in 6 weeks? Your fucking email is good. Then you're gonna have to work for the next 3 months just to catch up for the 6 weeks vacation. But somehow, you know, I interesting fun fact that I heard: French actually work longer weekly hours than Germans, right? I thought this was interesting. But then when I thought about it, I thought about how efficient Germans, or how
I was gonna say they got more work done faster, and
they know how to manage their time, and so that goes with their vacation also. Like when they're working, and when they're not, they're not. And so
there's no espresso breaks.
There's no just let me check my email while I'm on vacation with my kids because I got to catch up with these few things before. Like that's me. That's my life, right?
Yeah.
But Germans are like, no, this is my vacation time, and yeah, I will take it. I would. Why would I work? Why would I lift a finger? It only make me more productive when I'm back at work. They're just very logical. So
I'm going to embrace that, man. I'm taking a month off this year,
I
at the back of July, and I have to like frame it like a sabbatical. But my buddy who lives in France is like, bro, that's called just normal vacation in Europe.
Yeah, we're listed as a sabbatical,
right?
Like, dude, we get that every year and then some.
Yeah, like don't be afraid to take it. Tech workers who have that like unlimited PTO, like let's flex that muscle.
That's
how is ICBC Barcelona shaping up year over year?
Barcelona's great. It kind of is the same thing every year. It's just we're limited to size because we're on site on Cannabis there in the Cannabis auditorium. Berlin ICBC is blowing up, bro. It's going to be the biggest. It literally is like a mini MJ Biz. There's going to be 5,000 people there. We've got 170,000 square feet of expo space. Everybody and anybody's going to be there, and it's going to be by far the biggest ICBC ever, by far the biggest B2B gathering in Europe. So it's kind of taken all the oxygen out of the room for me. All roads lead to Berlin. People coming from 80 countries down. It is just great. I'm in a great position. As you know, I've been doing this for a long time in Germany, and so now that they've legalized in so many different ways, we're seeing an influx of all types of different businesses, from pharmacies to ancillary to LPs of sorts, and the market is really finally taking off. It was kind of ebbing and flowing with an upward trajectory always before, but still kind of one step type thing. And now it's just the curve's going vertical right now. And so you're seeing a demand for medical cannabis in Germany that is unprecedented. And now we've got our $1 billion market, commercial market in Germany.
And it sounds like prices are going down. And
oh my God, dude, Germany has the dope prices, bro. So that's the thing. It's less expensive than Barcelona at the German pharmacy. So now you can get, I think you get almost like decent diggity diggles for like €4 a gram, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 for sure.
Versus 20. Versus 20 euros.
Barcelona's no joke expensive. I mean, it's dang. Barcelona has some great weed. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I love the weed in Barca, right? Or the hash, it's all the selections. It's magic. It's absolutely magical. But Germany, they've got crazy selection now. It's cheap. It's because they have competition, and there's no barriers now to entry except the normal ones of doing business, but not anything extra because it's cannabis, so on. So it's an absolute free for all, and they need more weed. They ran out. They cannot get enough weed in Germany. Imports have, I believe, tripled in 8 months, and they literally, I talked to a lot of the producers there, and they, some of them are vertically integrated, can't get enough for what they grow, can't get enough extra from their import partners, and it's bananas. It's a de facto legalization system under medical auspices, much very similar to California back in the day.
Actually. That's funny because that reminds me of like Dennis Perone saying all use is medical use. And lastly,
he also used to say weed's either the most expensive thing in the world or the least expensive thing in the world. It's a plant.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about these 80 countries coming to ICBC Berlin. Where are they coming from, and like what does it mean about the global picture? My understanding is even under the UN single convention, you can have medical and you can have medical exports, and those are ramping. I'm seeing like LA brand Doja Pack or other brands saying they're growing in Thailand and exporting it to Australia or
Right.
this, that, or the other.
Right.
And it seems like it's a medical free-for-all globally with paperwork
That's
mailing
right.
around this stuff. And it's like not snickle fritz, it's like permanent marker. And all our contemporary cultivars here in California, that the genetics just miraculously ended up in a place like Thailand where they're growing it well enough and sending it to other places legally.
No, that's exactly what's happening. So those 80 countries. So the irony is it's not happening with America, United States, right? Because we don't have the federal legalization. But
Wow.
I know. Wow, go figure. But from Colombia to Canada to Thailand to New Zealand to Australia to South Africa to Lesotho,
Israel.
Israel, heck yes, Israel. And then you have all the European countries, from Portugal to Great Britain to Denmark to Holland to Macedonia to some others also. So here, but that was what I just listed were the main players.
Okay.
And so that's a network of maybe 20 countries that can get down with each other on the medical tip. And so now we have our first real international cannabis.
Trade.
Yeah.
Wild.
It is wild, bro. And it's popping. The Australian market's popping, Polish market's popping. Obviously the German market is by far the biggest, and it's dwarfing everything else. So everybody wants to sell their weed into Germany, but you still have a lot of other cross pollination there, no pun intended. And UK is smoking a lot of weed, right? Their medical program's going. Poland is going.
Wild.
And it's just getting started. Like now, you really feel the glass ceiling being shattered in Europe and all around the world. And so, and so at the ICBC, those 80 countries, every single European country is represented. A lot of people from Canada and America, a lot of people from South America, from Uruguay to Argentina to Colombia to Brazil to Panama, from Costa Rica, they're all there. And then a lot of people from South Africa there, and a lot of people from Oceania at the ICBC Berlin. Yeah.
Trippy. And this is all like California 96 in terms of it being medical. There's just more paperwork and the weed's better than it was back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pharmacies are basically just de facto dispensaries, right? But getting your card is just as easy. It's easier. So I'd say it's more California like 206 than 96, right?
Yeah.
10 years after 215 is kind of where it's at, because they really already had a lot of time. They had a pretty robust medical system since 217. Germany. Then it came off the narcotics list in last April. And so it really was able to exponentially grow because the market had been properly primed already.
And then meanwhile, we see California and US brands like take their genetics, take their SOPs, do local deals to grow in these countries.
You got cookies now in Europe. You got Cheech and Chong weed in pharmacies in Germany. Okay.
And somehow these brands can manage to take a cut and get the dough back to the States.
Well, I think they have I think it's just they would do a licensing deal in some cases.
Yeah.
Or they just vertically they just come over and have a licensing deal, but then also maybe own their own production also.
Well, now I don't want to choose. I want to go to Barca. I want to go to Berlin, and I want to go to Thailand all this year. And I know a lot of my contemporaries are doing that much travel. I see them just crisscrossing the globe.
I know some of these guys are just traveling everywhere. I'm like, wow, you're better man than I am. Holy mackerel. I mean, it's all nice and everything. So yeah, Berlin, amazing. Berlin's great because Germany is it's just great to come into a country that's legal like Germany. It's never happened like it happened in Germany. Like I said, how people smoking in public everywhere. It is absolutely a trip, and all the things I predicted about Germany because I was the one that predicted so much to happen. Some of
Yeah.
this, they went a little more wild west than I even thought they were going to do. And
Right.
so,
Germany, button down Germany, even with the conservative new government.
well, so there's an election on February 23rd, and that's going to probably maybe slow the progress down, but maybe not, because you can't really slow the medical part down. They really are not going to mess with that. They're more on the legalization thing. So with medical being so robust now, then it's the conservatives. I don't want to say they can't really do anything, because you never know in politics, but it's not. It would not be politically expedient for them to deal with cannabis like that, especially with their other bigger issues like war and immigration, which pull very highly in Germany right now for issues people are concerned about.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you have
economy.
such a great vantage point on the whole world. It strikes me that the conservative push in Germany is similar to America, where I don't see them spending their political capital for or against cannabis. Like, they're not standing in front of the train of medical, but they're not going to lose resources or time helping the hippies and potheads either. They're gonna.
Yeah, it's super similar to that. Yeah, I think that's a good analogy, and that's what we're likely going to see. And then, I see, are these guys worried? Are these operators worried? No, they got worries, but it's not that their medical is going to be or regress in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And then lastly, London, Europa. Like, I understood that, like, weed's not legal in London and you can get in trouble there, but they're having a conference and they're doing medical now too. Like, I just can't square the circle of, like, the UK and weed. It always seems so underground.
They're strong. It is. It is. And you don't want to be fucking around with no weed in London, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the medical's happening there, and it's a good, solid little market, but it's just, again, it's a little bit lackluster, just bureaucratic as shit, and just not moving at. I mean, it has had some movement. Like I said, on the medical tip, it has had some movement. On legalization tip, man, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I see it in, there's a lot of countries I do see it happening in, but Great Britain is just one of those, funky countries that, some of these countries that are so progressive in one way are so digressive in others, and regressive in others, and and I think it's a long way out. I think Spain is a long way out for legalization, but countries that are close, obviously Germany. Now I'll tell you right now, Slovenia is real close, and I think Slovenia is the closest country in Europe right now to go next.
Good stuff, man. Well, I wish you the best of luck with ICBC Bartha and Berlin. I know those are a lot of work to put on, and you got a lot of pieces to fit together. So I'll let you get back to that. But I hope to see you and all my other community members out there in the world in 2025, whether it's in Berlin, whether it's in Spain, whether it's in some of these other places where we can do our thing and be ourselves and not get in trouble. In that, a lot of Americans never leave the country, and their idea of a foreign trip would be going to New York City and smoking on the street, or Kansas City and getting deli style with the
check out some of this exotic flavor around the world. You always carte blanche, Downs.
Thank you. Well, I'm always here to help communicate and carry the flag. So happy Chinese New Year today to you, and keep going with the international outlook. Keep representing us, and I'm glad that it has proven true. You planted the flag in Europe with ICBC, you moved it over there before, you had the vision, it's come to fruition, and I wish you just the best of success this year, and safe travels to everybody.
Appreciate that, man. Even a blind hog finds the ear corn every once in a while.
Yeah, as long as you keep digging around, you can't
keep digging. Keep digging.
You just gotta get out. The only way out is through. Just keep going.
Dig that.
All right. Well, love to the fam.
All right, right back at you. Yeah. Okay. You need anything, just holler, baby. All right.
All right. Thanks,
Okay, peace.
Leafly watchers. I'm David Downs, Senior Editor at Leafly. This has been your international outlook for 2025 on cannabis tourism and a little bit of biz. We'll see you in the streets. Peace.